Hey guys, Sunday, December 29th, 2024. Let's see what the Black Widow could be doing this week. So without any further delay, let's get into this. This is my master chart. I'm going to go ahead and put the neural net. This is just computer-based. This model I'm testing. I'm using short-term data. I just want to see how this model works. And so far, this model is forecasting all the way, or turning point, if anything, around February the 12th. Let's see if that plays out. But I figure I'd show it here and there just to test this model. We adjusted some things now. This no longer is important. You know what's important now? This high of 401. So I have to put my 45 fan angle scale chart. This is important. Now that we had a change of contract and we came down, I want to see if there is a retrace, if we could blow right through the 45. If we blow right through the 45, there's a high probability that we're going to test 401 and could continue pushing higher. Now we have a tough time between 45, 1 by 1, or the 1 by 2, and do something like that. We're here, then that is a sign that if we take out that low, let's say if this is the low of 338, if we push lower, chances are we're going to go lower and maybe work out a January or February low. So that's why I have that. This is just to see how strong this retracement will play out, if it plays out, and if we could penetrate the strongest angle, which is the 1 by 1. So far, using our February 20 low of 152, we are now below the 1 by 1. So we are now on our weaker side. Always remember, stronger, weaker. So the longer we remain on this side, it's just weak. See? We just blew right through it and then came right back down. But, you know, we came back down because of change of contract. So let's see if we could, you know, continue grinding higher. But even if it just grinds sideways to higher, that's good too. It's just remembering that, you know, you're still on the weaker side. There's not that much strength in this move, but it's moving. Maybe at a slower pace, but on a weaker side in regards to geometry. So it's just good to know these things. On the Gann grid, it looks like in my last video, it was an explosion to the upside. I think we hit, what, 401. Change of contract pulled down. So there you go. You got a good level there of support. 332 and also 324, which lines up with this pivot high that we did around January the 11th. I got a couple of things here. The ellipse. And nothing really there for now to be worried about or focused. Retracement, Fibonacci retracement from these swing points right here. Look where things started getting exciting around the extension of the 276.4 extension. All this stuff happened here and then boom. Interesting. Obviously, you got your 100, which is at 313, which is this pivot high. So if there is some kind of pullback, this definitely is going to be probably a good buying area if you want to go long. You have that there. And also you have this one right here, which I don't know if we've kissed it yet, 332. So you got this pivot and you got this pivot. So this area will probably be a demand zone if we ever get down there. I think that's it. Let's go to the next clip. Okay, so this is my bigger fractal. As you could tell, I work from a fractal from here to here, and I focus just on this area, and then I zoom out and I go to another low, which is that 144 low, which is an interesting low. And don't mind my son, he's not feeling too good. He's a little under the weather. And we got this high of 1002. So this is where I focus and I go a little bigger. And I just want to see what's happening between this range. So I'm breaking things down in compartments. So we're going to start off with our Gann square from this range. And you can see that we blew through a key level right here of 353, which is this. You can see this pivot. It's working because you can see that it's stalled here in the future. And we blew right through it, and now we're below it. So if we were to go back up, this is a key level you want to regain, which is 353, or at least close above it. And if we go down, there's a key support of 282, and that covers this whole range from right here. So 282 would be a key level. Don't worry about this vector point. That's in January. The next thing would be is a little more fractal. Now it's from the high that we made on August 23rd to our low of February 20th. You can see that we're coming into a vector point, which is the 1.6, and that's going to be January 2nd. So can we kind of go sideways, dwindling, doing nothing, and then, you know, the Black Widow shows up, and then we get this nice pop? Because typically what happens is if it's going down, and it gets into a vector, and normally, typically, not that it doesn't have to do anything, but typically it reverses and gets a nice little volatility. Same thing if it's going up and then it hits a vector, it typically goes down. But sometimes you see that it continues going up and then it hits a vector and it really gets momo to the upside. So it all depends. But if worst case scenario, I'm expecting maybe something where it could explode, maybe to the upside if we continue going sideways to lower. So keep that on watch. And if there's any key levels, it's the same thing here. 360 need to it could be resistance now, but if we could blow right through it, chances are that it could work out and push higher if it closes above 360. Using our Gann fans, scaled. Looks like we never got to kiss this 1x4. And if we go to from our high, what's interesting here is that we're about to kiss this 45 1x1. Typically, when any instrument kisses it for the first time, it typically fails. So keep that on the back of your mind once we reach the 45. Kind of reminds me of the Matrix when Neo jumped off the building. They say most of the time when they jump off, they fail reaching the other building. Like the first time when you do it. So it's kind of the same thing with the 45 and the 1x1. Typically, when it kisses it, boom, it fails. But then it'll try again and then goes. It's just some kind of effect that this 1x1 has on the market. So be on guard for that if that plays out. Lips, interesting. We got some kind of change behavior, I call it, from here. We're using the ellipse technique. So can this be the bullish move that I'm looking for? Very possible. This is the weekly spectrum cycle analysis, and it's showing bullish price action too as of today, because this is dynamic cycles. They shift around May of 2026. So that's where possibly a peak might come in, somewhere in that ballpark, looking at like in a bell curve. That'd be your midpoint. This is your 25, 75, you know, your 100. So someone this belt in this area will be possibly, you know, maybe topping out. Also looking at our daily, and this is just more of the one that I'm kind of leaning on if it plays out. I don't know if that's going to play out yet. Well, if this is going to play out, we have to see price action, you know, push lower to do a swoop here. But as of February the 15th of next year, then both of these cycles will be in sync. So you get your weekly going up and your daily going up. And it all lines up with seasonality, but sometimes things don't work out the way you would like them to be. So maybe this is the year that nat gas is like, you know what? I'm not going to go kiss February. I'm going to continue pushing higher. And that could also play out. So you have to be open-minded and follow price action, because that's the one that's going to be indicating. But we're using probabilities. We're using all different kinds of techniques to see if certain things is going to play out. We just got to be on the sidelines watching and paying close attention to see what are the probabilities that this plays out, or that if it ignores it and continues pushing higher, and if it does, where it could be a possible turning point where we could lock in profit, ride this wave higher, and then get out. That's the kind of thing that I'm kind of working on. So let's take the ellipse out. This is another ellipse. This is a curvature you want to keep an eye on. You can see that it ends somewhere around, you say July. Yep, July. Keep a watch on that. This is forward. This is something I just watch and I'm analyzing. The bigger picture pitchfork, Andrew's pitchfork, APF. You see this is a good area. If this ever comes out into February, this would be a nice area to start getting some exposure if you're not already in. And that's just, speculating. This could be an area. You can see that it's not perfect. It cracks it, but if it closes above it, it'd be a good opportunity. In my opinion, not financial advice. Using the Gann square, nothing really here. Key level to watch is that 355, 353, same thing. Nothing there. A little more fractal, same thing, 360. Keep an eye on that. There you go, your 1 by 1 from the February 20 low. We are below it. So that's just something to keep an eye on. And on our channel, using these pivot points, you can see that we kissed this channel, went even higher to like 401, and now we are below it. And I also have another one just in case, is to push higher. I'm keeping an eye on this one. But so far we're below the first one that I showed you. And if we're going to push higher and take out 401, this will be one I'll be watching for some, like a target or possible resistance and pullback in conjunction with the, the 45, which is this one right here. This one definitely could be one where it could just fail first. But if it doesn't, then this is the one I'll be watching second. I got another fractal mini pitchfork, and it's just more of a fractal move. You can see that we kissed the 75% here. Now we're below the midpoint, which is your 50%. And it could probably find support at the 25, and this could be a nice area, or this angle, if it pushes down into January, February, where you could dip your toes in and get some exposure, or maybe another leg higher. This is wing waves from the bigger picture, and obviously it takes you all the way to April of 2026. We know we know 26 is a year where the weekly spectrum cycles turn. The dynamic was showing May. This one is showing April for measured moves. So keep an eye on that. This is more bigger picture. This is assuming that we're going to chop around, grind high or whatever, and somewhere around here, I don't know if it's going to be a double top or maybe even push higher, or maybe hit the midpoint, which is like your 50%, maybe $5 and then turn. I don't know, but it's just timing points so you want to keep an eye on. Here is 4 waves. And this is more, let's see, can I zoom in here? There you go. So this is your first impulse, 112 days. We came back 77 days down. We gave one to 119 days. I'm, speculating maybe could a mirror go closely to 77 days? That takes you to like March, the first week of March, very close to February, March. So it's something just estimating, just in case there is a pullback, maybe somewhere around here could possibly turn and then push another leg higher. And then lastly, this is a little more, this is 4 waves here. Let's see. This is a little more fractal from the February 20 low. So you got 14 days up, 60 days down, 48 days up, 77 days down. And then you got the same move. And what's interesting is, even though it didn't rhyme exactly, it caught this second one here, not this pop. It pushed back here. I think that's the June 11th high. I'll have to look at the scale. But I think that's the June 11 high. And then somewhere around here, this is the August 27th low, which nailed it and then exploded up. And it went a little further, but it was like maybe a couple of days later, and it pushed higher, and now it's pulling back. And this one lines up around, let's see, somewhere between February and March. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this technique. But I think that's it for this one. And then lastly, we're going to go into our big one. I think that's probably my favorite chart. So let's go to that clip. Okay, so this is the last video. This is probably one of my favorite charts. And I added some things because I'm trying to forecast and look into the future. I'm just using probability statistics. So these here that I just added, these are what I call the quant. Forecasting or analyzing price action from the past and forecasting possible turning points. And so far you can see that a lot of stuff are in the downside in between February and March. And then there's a few positive ones. So this one is a positive one here. The 18th to the upside and the 25th. There's even one a negative here. Ooh, my throat is like really, I feel like everybody's under something going on here. There's like a flu thing breaking out here in Tennessee, which is interesting. I'm giving my boys some good home remedy concoctions to fight all this stuff. But anyway, I digress. You can see that here it goes as low as March the 8th, positive on the 25th, negative down to the 12th, you could say the 7th, even the 30th, and positive on the 18th. So we'll be watching these and see what could be playing out, and just watch price action and see if it if there's anything that correlates there. All right, so I'm going to start off. Let's see, where can I start off? I got a lot of stuff on this one. Let's start off with our Gann square, see if any key levels. So you can see that up here, that was somewhere around $3.98, so pretty much $4. We kind of stalled there and pushed back. Big support here around $2.70. Same thing in that same ballpark. Probably a good level to watch is $3.52, which we've probably been covering that. I just kind of add things and just kind of remind us. $3.53, yeah, $3.53 to $3.60. Next one will be the $2.84. And then looking at our monthly, interesting is that the monthly is still bullish. Our close for the month of November was around $3.36, and we're hovering around that. I don't know if we're still there because these are closes. I don't know, we're in the 20s, but $3.36 was our close for November. So we could kind of float here and then push higher and close above $3.36. That continues the trend higher. And our open for December was $3.21. So we need to be at least above $3.36 and definitely holding or in the range of 321 to 336. Once we start pushing even lower than that, then our last leg will be 303, which kind of lines up with our 296, which was our October high. So then this will be your demand zone right here. This is where I think the bulls will show up to defend this area. Probably even here, as they're looking at the close of November. This whole area right here will probably be, maybe we could chop around here and some bottom feeders will show up to see if we could probably get another leg, at least retest this high. And that's all just my speculation. However, looking at the weekly, you can see that the weekly, we are very negative. We took out our close of last week, which was 364, pushed lower, took some of these pivot highs out. Now we want to see if we are going to still hold 322. And then obviously you can see right here, all this area, that's going to be the demand zone. All right, now that I got that out of the way, all right, let's look at the solar cycle. Solar cycle peaked around the 19th. We made a high around the 26-ish, around there, $4, and pulled back. The solar cycle might get a bump or a pop around the 1st, 2nd. You can say between maybe Thursday. Thursday's the EIA report. So it looks like Thursday gets a nice little bump. And then by next week, Wednesday, it starts dwindling down. It does find a low around the 19th, which makes sense. That's where we made our low last year. So that's our solar cycle, which is our annual cycle. So let's see if this is going to play out. The one I'm leaning on is this red one. I call this the Gann cycle. So here, it looks like it just kind of went sideways. We continue grinding higher. However, this cycle now, it's a bottom or a turning point around the 23rd. So even if we just kind of chop around here, that doesn't mean it's going to crash. But if it does, or if it doesn't, watch around the 23rd, because I think around that week, the week of the 20th all the way to the 25th, I think if I was to be leaning on this cycle, we might get a pop. Mind you, it goes against a lot of the algos for the quant saying, yeah, we're going to continue pushing lower. So these are swing bottoms. It's going against the grain of what the quant thinks. But just looking at the past correlation of this cycle, I think it's very good. Is it going to continue working into 2025? I don't know. So far, I'm leaning on it. So when I say I'm leaning on it, I consider it very, very important. And you guys are my witness, so you'll be seeing to see how this plays out. So if we get a nice pop here, and then we stall here, it's going to give you confidence to be following this cycle. Not guaranteed. It's not the crystal ball, but there's something to this projection line that is fascinating. I did add the Bradley model. I like the Bradley model a lot, so I had to incorporate it here on my big picture analysis. And what's interesting on the Bradley model is that we have a turning point that hit the 26, and behold, we did a high around there in the 26, 27, $4 or whatever the 26 was. I think it was $4. But look what the Bradley model does. You can see that the Bradley model was just pretty much chop. Just a lot of back and forth. But here we have open space all the way to February 1st. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking at it this way. It could either continue grinding higher to February 1st, or it's going to be chop fast grinding to lower, and then on February 1st it turns. This is a big open space here. And then another one here. So I'm going to include this on my research here. Spectrum cycle analysis. on the software that I use, you can see that this red projection cycle here peaked somewhere around the 21st, and this cycle goes down in conjunction with the green one, and they bottom out. And a lot of the quant is indicating, you know, bottoms here, kind of in this ballpark. So there's only like two things positive with the quant, and everything else is just negative. And that's using all the data that I have, using 20 years, using 12, and using 10 years. There's only two positive things that the quant found in regards to, you know, time, and then everything else is just negative. So it kind of validates, you know, even my Gann cycle and my solar cycle, although there's not a pick here, but it kind of validates it that there is weakness in here. So we have to see price action if it's going to continue going lower, or she's going to do what she's going to do is sideways and continue grinding higher and ignore all of this that we have seasonality and we've had in the past where nat gas normally is weak. We'll see. And lastly, we got Harmonics, which kind of lines up with the Quant. This came in a little early, and this is based on the spectrum cycle, so it kind of lines up there. This is also the same thing with the Harmonics box, but it's included with the fourth setting that I have. So there is a little 3 clusters here, but pretty much in conjunction with the, you know, February possible low. And then this is composite of these 3 cycles, the green, the blue, and the red, where it kind of bottoms out here, and it kind of lines up with all the quant models. Lastly, let's get this out. I don't want to make this video too long, but I do have a habit of making a video long, so I don't know if you guys do like that, or you don't really care. You're a nerd like me, and you're learning, and you're analyzing, and you're in research mode, and you want to get the best, you know, probability in regards to trading nat gas. So let's look at our annual cycle here. Just kind of the same as the solar cycle if you look at it. It's for some reason this annual and the solar cycle are just a little different. You get these fluctuations. The annual cycle just kind of just dwindles down. You can see that it bottomed out here on the 25th, but the solar cycle, for some reason, you get these nice little swings. So I like to see that also, just in case, like right here, perfect example, it could be possible that we get a little, you know, we go down, it could probably, you kind of get a little action there and then get out, you know. So just as I don't know, not trading advice, but just, you know, if you want to, you know, be a little risky, maybe like the Thursday of the EIA report, if you get a bullish price action, ride this all the way to like Wednesday or Tuesday, and then get out, because chances are it might then push lower. And that's not factoring the weather. Who knows? You know, Barry, one of the traders that follows my channel, says that, you know, Russia's contracts all end on the 31st. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. So that's a whole, you know, other dynamic that's going on there. But anyway, I digress. That's the annual. Fast annual is 3 years worth of data. Let's get this one out of here. Yeah. So you can see that it's still bearish. Kind of lines up with the quant analysis. It does kind of get a little bump around here. The mid-annual, which is, you know, 6 years worth of data, it does find support here, but then it dwindles back down here. This one came in early. This one came in around November 18th, and we made a high on the 26th, 27th. So it was a little too early, in my opinion. The annual and the decimal. Now, this one is a curveball, because this one continues pushing higher. This is the annual cycle and 10 years of cycle, and you can see that it goes all the way to the 27th, and then this one bottoms somewhere around March. And I am finding some things interesting on March, but a lot of the data indicates February. So I don't know if this is one of those things where if we do push slow into February, we kind of get a dead cat bounce, because it did happen last year where we got a bounce on the 20th, pulled back, and it was like a fail new low, and then started trending higher. That remains to be seen. Lastly, this is a Gann technique looking 10 years in the past. What I find fascinating here is that 10 years ago we made a low, and behold, look, we made a high. It's inverse. Interesting. Spike down, we spike up this year. 10 years ago, we spiked down. This year, we spiked up and go down. So let's see. We do an inverted and kind of follow price action. Let's see what this is here. The fourth, the third. Interesting. So if I was to be a little risky, can we chop around here and then maybe on, you can say maybe what is that? The third, the second is a Thursday, EIA report Friday. That's a Saturday. So yeah, it could be a little risky, but maybe Monday, if this is going to play out price action wise, get a nice little pop and get out Friday. So I don't know, that's just me speculating, but that's just using the 10 years and inverting it, which is a little risky too, but it's good to experiment to see what happens in regards to price action. But let's go back to the normal. But you can see that it's kind of choppy. With 10 years, it finds a bottom somewhere around the 5th. So let's see. And if you were to do an inverted, it takes you all the way. So let's say if this is going to be following it, it takes you to a high on the 5th. Let's go back to normal, and Gann recommended also to look at 20 years ago. And this kind of makes a little more sense because it's normal and it kind of goes in conjunction with what price action is doing. So, if it's bullish, it looks like it could find a low. Yeah, this Thursday, Friday is interesting. Let's see, solar cycle. Yeah, so there's something here that could possibly, maybe do statistics and kind of analyze it. See, let's see that week of, what is that? New Year's is the Wednesday, so Thursday. Yeah, so if you do the week of the 30th and do some statistics and see if there's any price action bullish, between Thursday and Friday, maybe they could probably be a trade here, even if we don't go down, but we just kind of go sideways, just stalling. Maybe this could probably play out, but it'll be quick. I'm just trying to give you some ideas, but you got to be very careful. But yeah, let's look at what my Gann cycle is indicating. Yeah, see, my Gann cycle is going all the way down, but it's not going to go straight down on a line. This could probably play out, but then eventually follow it. But we'll see. We'll take baby steps. But 20 years ago, we did find a low somewhere around the second, third, and popped all the way to, you could say maybe the 17th. So this could be a nice little swing. And it kind of in conjunction, you got to be careful with the Quant side right here. It lines directly with it, going bearish. So we'll see how that's gonna play out. I think that's it. I don't have anything else to cover. I think I covered everything else. One thing I want to say, if you've been listening to this all the way to this point, I am planning to be doing interviews for next year. So there is one gentleman that I've been watching here and there. I haven't reached out to this group or people. I am going to reach out to them, once a year interns, and maybe, first, second week of January, I'll reach out and I'm going to interview them because I think I find their videos and analysis on nat gas. It's pretty much a nat gas thing. Very interesting. So I want to kind of pick their brain and just chat about, 2025. What do they see in the horizon? And I think their analysis is very, very interesting. I find it very um, full of knowledge. And this person has been into the commodity industry for a while, so this person knows a lot. And I would like to pick his brain and kind of ask him questions and just take it from there. So I'm going to be including interviews for next year. So it's just not going to be hearing my voice and all that stuff, which I'm sure you guys are bored of me. But I'll be interviewing specialists, people that, specialize just on nat gas. Maybe I'll venture off to other stuff, maybe crude, gold, and whatever. The US dollar, currencies, Bitcoin. But since I'm on a net gas run, I'm figured I'm just gonna, ride the wave and get the best of the best. And I think this person is very interesting with their analysis. So once you'll see the video, I gotta make sure all my technical parts are taken care of over here on my end. I'm gonna be putting that out there. Maybe we do it once a month. We revisit, people that I like and that you guys like. And if, we get it really good, you could probably submit some questions that, you would like to ask certain analysts that cover nat gas that you have as favorites. And then we could take it from there. But that's going to be something I'm going to be looking forward to doing for 2025, including interviews. I don't know about live yet, but definitely pre-recorded interviews, chit chat, talk about nat gas. What are your thoughts this month? What do you think? Bullish, bearish? What's your forecast? You think we're going all the way up to $10 eventually and stuff like that? And then take it from there. So hopefully you guys ride the wave with me for 2025. The year is about to end, so it's looking very exciting, especially for nat gas. Well, I am going to sign out. Hope you like this video. And I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on nat gas.